shooting to be the premier Northwest podcast.
The podcast.
Not yet the premiere, because we haven't even aired any of them,
we've
but
done
we're
one.
shooting for that.
We've done one.
All right, we are officially live.
Welcome, everybody, to the now named Hard Rain podcast from Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
It took us one episode to get this named. It wasn't two, but
Two. Really.
Well, we don't count the first one.
Yeah, but two.
Okay.
So excited to be here on a first-class operation.
We've got Robert Lackey in the house. He's already talking.
Hello.
Welcome, Robert Lackey,
Thank
to the
you.
show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me, I guess.
And, of course,
You guess.
the legendary Hennigan, Seattle's comic du jour. I don't know. Well,
I don't know.
Yeah. Hennigan's here tonight.
Yeah, I'm here.
And then we have our producer. Welcome, Joe Hicks.
Word.
The fuck is
He's
he
on the
produce?
boards.
What does he produce?
Well, he's on the boards. He's making sure we sound
I
good.
have to watch all these lights as they
Oh,
blink
yeah.
and display. And,
We don't even have fucking video, dude. We're
guys,
just
no,
voices.
we're actually, we got video. We're
We don't
recording
even know
all of
who's
this.
talking. There's like four people, and they all sound exactly. We all learned to talk on the fucking TV.
I
so-
think we learned from Dan Clayton's podcast,
Yeah.
though, that you have a distinct voice, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Did you
Oh,
ever
it
hear
sounds
that?
very much like Sam Elliott. In fact, I was sitting with Bobcat Goldthwait in the green room at Richland, Washington. And Bobcat was sitting in the green room with me. He was featuring,
Yeah.
or whatever, and he's on stage, and
I
we're
usually
sitting.
headline.
Well, yeah, you're working with, except for when Bobcat's in
Yeah,
town.
exactly.
He was with Bobcat. Fuck it, it's not featuring. He was on the show. If you're on that show, it's a fucking good deal. But we're sitting in there, and Hennigan's on stage, and Bobcat says, "Open the door." So I opened the door, and he goes, "That sounds like Jeff Bridges, exactly." And his timbre and the way he was, the way he sounded like Jeff Bridges. Then we went back, and I'm like, "Dude, it sounds like Jeff Bridges, but it sounds more like Sam Elliott. That's the guy, the old Western Sam Elliott. Look it up, people. I'm telling you."
I could see Hennigan in a Western, actually. Like, it would be pretty
That's
hilarious.
the only gigs I ever got. I got offered homeless guy, Vietnam vet, biker, and fucking cowboy.
Yeah.
You know, they always tried
I
to
can see
fucking
the
reel
cowboy
me in.
for
Yeah,
sure.
fuck yeah,
Absolutely, it'd be awesome.
I'm from the West.
But you
know?
just like wear that hat.
yeah.
No cowboy hat, just that hat.
Yeah,
you're
just like
you're
a
the
Wyoming.
rebel.
I'm confused
Daytime.
already. So we're saying that Hennigan is a cross between Bridges and Sam Elliott. Is
Yeah,
that
Voice
what a-
wise?
What a crock,
Yeah.
huh?
I don't. Is that a compliment?
Hicks, you need to go. Okay, here's the deal. After this podcast, you go home, and I want you to just listen to some the dude. Listen to the dude. Go listen to some Jeff Bridges, and then go listen to Sam Elliott, and then listen to him. And you tell me which one. Next time we'll talk about
And then
it.
you can go to bed.
Next podcast we'll
Make
talk
your
about it.
sandwich.
Here's
Get
your
some
chores
sleep.
for tonight.
There's freaking homework and shit.
There's research for next week's
really.
podcast.
I'm the
prepared
producer,
for all this.
motherfucker. I don't have to do homework. Shit.
Well, everybody listening now has homework. Good luck, fuckers.
Yeah, exactly. So, but we're here. We're here in Seattle. It's actually light out. It's been sunny for a week.
It's been very nice.
It's been beautiful. We've got, and the name of the podcast is Hard Rain.
But it is beautiful here.
It's beautiful out.
I'm so excited to be on a podcast that finally has a name, too. Like, this is a very exciting deal
Tell
for
us
me.
what you were thinking of when you thought of that name, because I'll tell you exactly what I thought when you said it. But what were you thinking when you said, "I think we should call it"?
Wow, Morgan. Nah, fuck that. You know, it was one of those things where my son got on me, and he said, well, you know, you've done 2 or 3 of these things. You got to have a name. That's really stupid. You got to fucking come up with a name. You're all a bunch of creative people. You know, that's the whole premise of the goddamn podcast. Why can't you come up with a fucking name? And so I thought about it. And it tripped me to Ken Kesey, and he wrote a book called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is a line from a song. And he also did one that about the logging industry, and that was also part of a song. And so it's like, well, fuck, dude, why not just clip something out of a song that already has a...
So you stole it. Is basically what we're getting out of the story.
Well, I think I like to call it more of an homage.
Yeah, I see. That's
I
right.
would think it
Good point,
would
good
be.
point.
I mean, come on. Isn't
Yeah,
everybody, isn't everybody
Dylan's got
remixed?
enough goddamn money.
I think the whole world is remixed anyway.
I hope he comes after me for this. I hope fucking Bob Dylan comes after me and goes, hey, don't like it, you know, doing his thing.
It fits though, because I mean that when you said that to me, I immediately thought of Seattle, which is a whole bunch of people sitting inside because it's always goddamn raining, and then we all have ADD and we're just trying to do something.
That's why we all get jacked on coffee all the time.
Exactly.
Because
And, yeah,
fucking
let's
you
stay
can't go
awake during
outside.
this shit. It's awesome. It's cloudy and whatever, but that kind of adds to the creativity of the whole thing. And when you said that, I was like, oh man, that makes so much sense. And plus, we got a great logo, so
Yeah.
it looks good on a T-shirt. That's all that matters, right?
Exactly. It's all about branding. It's not substance. It's just glitter. You know.
It's not substance, it's just marketing.
No,
That's the only
fuck
part
yeah,
that
it's
really fucking
marketing.
matters.
We're in here to make a buck. I mean, if you laugh, good. But basically, we'd rather you bought
We're
a
just going to
t-shirt.
talk to buy a T-shirt, and we're going to talk to whoever we want to talk to.
Yeah, we're
And
trying
that's
to
why we have Lackey here.
We're trying to raise $10,000 on that Kickstart program. I don't even know what it is, but we're trying. So we can have another name.
Is there an address where people can send money to, by the way? Like,
No.
oh, okay.
I don't want to start that.
Can I give my address out?
No,
You can send it to the boat. You know, pick it up out at the 13-mile mark, where there's. You'll put it in the Caymans.
make sure
like
there's
we
a
do the
blue
rest of
buoy
our-
on it.
That's why you live in a boat, so you can take it out to international waters
I'm not
anytime you
sure.
want, and
I'm
then you
not
don't have to
sure,
worry
right.
about any laws or shady marketing dealings that might be going on. It's a perfect
These
shit.
fucking boat people. It just never stops.
Yeah, that's what Seattle, man. Everybody lives on a boat, or
would
everybody
like
thinks,
to.
or everybody thinks they do.
Yeah, Tom
Like
Hanks
Sleepless
did.
in Seattle style.
He really fucked with everybody's shit, right? He just, what was he, a fucking real estate agent or something? He lived on a houseboat. It's like, it's the only way you get a houseboat is if your uncle dies and you're the only fucking relative still alive. Then you get a houseboat.
And all the work that goes with it. I'm
Oh,
in the
yeah.
middle of it right now. It's horrible. But whatever.
Still, you're on the water.
I get to look
So-
at it beautiful.
Robert,
Yes, sir.
what the fuck, dude?
What the fuck, man? Indeed.
That's a
I've
good
only
po-
heard little rumors and whispers of your past
Oh, no.
and your life, and so yeah, I'm kind of curious about what the fuck.
I think what the
Okay.
fuck is a good place to start.
All right. Well, let's rip off the name of a prominent podcast to do this. Essentially, you guys asked me in here, I believe, because you were interested to hear my family's history, because I'm fourth generation show business, and I believe Morgan is as well. And we were having a lot of good conversations outside of a comedy club where I was blowing your guys' minds with a bunch of stories one night. And I think that's why I'm here today, is to tell you some of those stories. So,
relive them,
where to
imagine.
start?
Exactly, which is pretty amazing because we just said it earlier. It was I think that sometimes being in show business or being funny or being whatever, living that lifestyle is genetic, or you
Oh, definitely.
either or cultural. I don't know where it starts,
I
but
agree
I think
with you
it-
Didn't you
you're
start
born.
out as a juggler, Morgan?
Yeah, pretty much.
Any juggling in your? Well, we had,
Not until I met Phil Fox.
yeah,
no.
we were talking to Phil Fox not too long. He was a juggler too, and I'm starting to think like I don't know, maybe there's some strange juggling comedy connection.
There's a
that
connection
I've never
between-
really made. before.
Do
I
you know that
myself-
Penn, do you know that Penn Jillette's a juggler?
Well, of course I knew
There's
that.
all these guys that are like that don't want to admit it, like Steve Martin is.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody
I-
wants to admit it though. Everybody's like got the hell out of that as quick
I
as they
W.C.
can.
never
Fields
juggled.
was a master juggler.
W.C. Fields was absolutely, but that's old school. I'm talking like
Oh, really? Is he out of the business?
Whatever happened to that dude?
I gotta
don't
keep
think
that's
up.
OG
I,
old school. That's like real
You know
old
what I got to
school.
do? I got to start juggling, man. That's
Like
what-
didn't he die like even like 2 movies into moving pictures? I think that most of his stuff is. Yeah, whatever. It's
Yeah,
W.C.
right.
Fields. I don't want to research that. Why don't you take care of that for next week?
Yeah,
Put
that's,
it on
I'm
the
gonna
list.
put that on my homework list right after I
So-
listen to Jeff Bridges.
What was your? It was like your grandfather, your
all the
great
way-
grandfather.
Oh, yeah, man.
Like the very beginning.
Oh, the very beginning was essentially my great grandfather worked on the Santa Fe Railroad for a number of years, and that was a tough living. But essentially, what would happen back then is that was the beginning of the labor movement. So if you got in the union, you could go anywhere in the country and get work. So essentially, what happened was my grandfather, my great grandfather, he joined the stagehand union down in Texas. And all of a sudden, he worked as a projectionist and he worked as a stagehand in all the theaters down in Temple, Texas. And for instance, like one of his duties, you hear the expression to be in the limelight. That's an actual old show business expression, because before electricity, they would actually have to take actual lime they would light it on fire, and then they put on the lamps, and that's how stage
Safe.
light would be created. Yeah, exactly.
That's why you can't smoke a cigarette in front of a curtain. Holy shit.
That's badass.
Oh yeah, man.
Just wait for a few minutes until the place catches on fire.
yeah.
We
light
need to
it
go
up
back
with
to
that.
the old way.
There's
of
that
lighting
one
shit up.
exit, and it's narrower than it should be. Yeah. This is awesome.
It's chained.
Yeah, exactly. We've insulated the walls with newspaper.
We're gonna make the fucking paper this time.
Oh, definitely. I believe they had
Wow.
people covered in gasoline before they went in to see shows back then.
Jesus.
But if you actually read through the old archives of 1800s newspapers, you would see like at least once a week somewhere in the United States a theater would go up and about 100 people would go up with it because of how unsafe all that was. But
What was your great grandfather's name? I'm just
James Kelton Lackey was his name.
James. So it's fairly, I was expecting like some old schooly like Ollie or whatever.
My
like,
family's not creative with names. Like my name's fucking Robert Lackey. I mean, that's the most like stereotypical name for a fat white
what
guy.
nationality?
I'm Irish and I'm part Romanian. So Irish on my father's side, Romanian on my mother's side.
All right.
Transylvania actually is where my family's from, so that's why I got fangs. But yeah, man. So
Isn't that where the gypsies were from?
yeah,
No? Okay.
Vlad the Impaler, I believe. is from Transylvania.
yeah.
Ask any
I was
Turk.
thinking maybe he's a gypsy in his blood. Maybe that's why he's in the biz.
I think I got a little bit of everything. I don't think my forefathers were too particular. You know what I mean? So
whatever's
I
available.
don't think
whatever's
any of
around.
them were too particular. Really,
yeah,
couldn't be.
yeah.
Like shit, you're alive. You got a horse.
It's
Can
like
you
the old,
cook? Get on. You know that's.
it's like the old George Carlin joke. Why do you fuck a sheep at the edge of a cliff? So it'll push back. Old George Carlin joke. Everybody just nodded like,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was early, Carlin. that was during his farm animal phase,
It was a brief phase.
just after his wife died.
Just right after the hippy dippy weatherman.
I'm protesting farm animal jokes from now on, but
Amen.
So your granddad was in. He was the dude
Great-grandfather.
that great grandfather. He was the dude that actually lit the lime.
he actually lit the
In
lime
Texas.
in Texas. Like fucking
Just
my
like a-
family. Yeah, exactly.
Just the thought that theater would even catch on in Texas. In some little shit town I don't even ever fucking heard
They
of.
Oh,
had to
Temple,
put in-
Texas. Yeah.
Temple?
Oh, little shit Texas
Where-
town.
it's still
Where
a
is
little-
that?
Nobody knows.
It's right in the middle of Texas. I can't tell you where the fuck it
right
is.
in the middle of fucking Texas.
Right.
Yeah,
What the-
isn't every fucking thing in Texas? Holy shit.
Oh, totally.
How long ago was this? Like,
This would be probably right around the turn of the century.
So what kind of shows
Which
are they having in
century?
the theater in Temple, Texas at that time of the century?
Vaudeville was heavy back then. Wasn't
one-
vaudeville very heavy
Yeah.
back in the 1900s or early 1900s?
The way
So the jugglers, right? The jugglers. would come
Jugglers,
out.
Yeah,
To
put
singers.
this-
Who was that Lenny chick? Some, that was. Anyway.
the way I can phrase this to you, to put a picture in your mind, is if you've ever seen the movie Tombstone, the show where the dude pulls out the gun. Yeah, the show where the
Finnegan's
dude.
favorite film.
movie. That is my favorite
Yeah,
fucking movie.
the scene where the dude pulls out the gun and he shoots the juggler's pin or whatever it was. That's
Just
essentially
hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was
And
like.
we whine
back
about
then.
hecklers. These fuckers are getting guns pulled on them, and these guys were badass.
Oh, if you go through my family history, virtually everybody was crazy or did something crazy, and I mean, it extends down to me as a fucking stand-up comedian, So it's a cool lineage.
I think that's kind of fucking genetic as well.
I think so too. We were talking about this a moment ago. Like, I grew up in theaters and I grew up in clubs, and I tried to be an adult and do a 9 to 5, and I can't do it. I got to be in theaters and clubs every night. It's just a genetic thing.
Well, comics are mostly retarded. I think that's.
Well, I got that
that's
going
safe
for
to
me
say,
too.
so.
Doesn't normal what I like to call civilian life seems kind of dull and fucking
Oh,
boring
yeah.
once you've hung out in the bars and the pool halls and the
Definitely.
theaters and shit like that, where there's some creative characters
Oh, definitely. I
and
mean,
some fun.
Kind of neat stuff going on.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, before I was 12 years old, growing up in this industry, like I had seen everything and done everything to the point that school was boring. Basically, it was like the Goodfellas story. It's like
I don't know that was why, because I went to school in those days and it was boring.
well,
I hadn't seen shit and it was still boring.
well, that too.
So yeah,
That too, man. But yeah, man. And I don't know. Just to go back though, you guys want to hear the lineage go up to my grandfather and all that?
Yeah.
Or-
Lay it
okay.
on me, man. Let's see what you got.
All right. So essentially, from there, my grandfather worked his way in as an electrician at the theaters down there and became a stagehand. And you guys are fucking around over there.
We need your grandfather right now to fucking
Yeah, come here and fix all
untangle
this shit.
shit.
Yeah, I just saw you sitting there with a mess of cords around you, and I'm
He
like,
just had cords
that's-
around his leg. I was trying to stand up, quietly walk over and fix it.
Hennigan's been seated for 20 minutes. He's already like tangled up in all the cords and the microphone.
yeah.
All right,
Fuck
it's
you.
fixed. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're keeping
focus.
this shit in.
Focus.
We're back.
all right.
I would have first of all, did your great grandfather ever set himself on fire with this whole crazy
Or
line?
get hurt or anything.
I would.
Seems like a dangerous job.
I would assume so, but I think it's like the Simpsons episode where the dude falls off the mountain. He was dancing the next day. I think they were just tougher people.
Now,
back
does it
then.
take talent to do that? Like, you got to be trained to set the lights on fire, or do they just like is that what they give like the guys who just got out of prison, right? They're like, you know what, go set that shit on fire over there. We'll
No,
be
they
at a safe
actually,
distance.
that's why they had jugglers in the show, because they had torches. The guy would borrow one, start the shit.
There you
Really?
go.
That's legit?
That's exactly how it went. Exactly.
Whatever.
No, of course not. I'm being
Oh,
sarcastic.
you're wrong. Okay.
Oh, I see. Well, now I can't
You
believe,
fucking hooked us, pulled us in. What an asshole. Whatever.
now I can't believe anything you say.
Well,
you totally
strap
blown
in
the
because
whole
we
thing.
got 2 more hours to go.
Fucking
Sweet.
gypsy.
Okay, let's keep moving. This is going to be a while.
So essentially, from there, I feel like I'm giving an essay, a fucking book report on my family.
We'll just
but-
keep jumping in. Keep going.
All right, killer man. So essentially, from there, my grandfather, he got a job down there from a friend as a projectionist in the theater, and he joined. I believe the projectionists either had their own union or they're part of the stagehand union or something like that. And I'll fast forward through the boring stuff. Essentially, he got a job with the Broadway play Little Abner. And from that, he got to tour all over the country, and he wound up in Las Vegas, which was becoming like a gold rush at the time for entertainment because the mob, essentially the Jewish syndicate, came in and bought up all the hotels, and they were using it to scam and launder money.
So this is in the 50s then?
This would be, I believe, the 40s.
The 40s? So
Yeah.
now we're on to grandpa, not great grandpa.
Yeah, great grandpa. To be 100% honest with you, I don't know that much about.
He lit
so-
some shit on fire. And that was about it.
He
And
just
had-
started the whole thing.
I think he killed Indians too. I don't really fucking know. So
Fuck yeah.
I think honestly, I'm named after a Texas Ranger in my family whose claim to fame is he killed 2 Indians, which I've never admitted publicly, but there you go. So,
It's terrible, Bob.
well,
You got
know,
real
Yeah, you don't want to be
savages.
admitting this to like 10 people.
Yeah. you got real savages in your family.
Yeah.
And, I think you need to take a long, hard look at yourself. in
I'm
the
trying
mirror.
to say, as white people, we all have blood on our hands. But moving
Somewhere.
So your
somewhere.
grandfather
Yeah.
is working with the mafia in
Essentially-
Vegas in the 40s.
Essentially, yeah. What happened was he joined the stagehand union down there, and I believe he was an electrician. And just through the process of God and hard work, he became the stage manager at the Dunes Hotel, where he was the stage manager for Viva la Girls, the first French girl review show that came into town. So
Ooh la la.
yeah, exactly. I have so many pictures of my grandfather with just like the most drop dead gorgeous women wearing nothing, and it gets to
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Morgan is
Not
suddenly
he wasn't.
Why was this shit not like brought for our perusal?
I apologize.
We
for
want
that.
proof.
Yeah, we want pictures
Yeah, you
of
have
your.
to fucking
Now
scan
you got some
shit.
homework.
Yeah.
All right.
Scan some shit and send it to our IT page.
Yeah, it's,
it to our
it's going
groupies.
online.
All right,
Send
we-
it to our minions.
I'll have my people contact your people.
Yes,
We,
please.
we
do.
want to rub one out
That's
the pictures
awesome.
of your. We want to rub one out the pictures of your grandfather with half naked chicks.
That's
that are dead
very
now.
disturbing. But
That's
that's
awesome, though, man.
Yeah. So what's funny about that is it's like you could probably heckle on this too with your experience. Like when you grow up in that atmosphere, and when you're in that atmosphere every day, where you're around the most beautiful naked women in the world.
Oh yeah, I know what
basically,
that's like.
it gets well. Of course you do voodoo chicken, but
I mean, yeah, look here. There's
oh yeah,
Yeah, they're all over. We
we're
just keep them
crawling,
quiet.
crawling with women.
It's a tough life.
But when you're in that atmosphere, beautiful women become like chairs. Like you don't even notice them. And what's funny
And
about
you sit on them.
I love this.
totally. But what's funny is it's like, you know, you won't even notice a girl when she's naked, but when she puts her clothes on, you're like, oh, I want that, just because of the illusion is there. Because when they're naked, it's like it's just work. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's just a fascinating culture.
Just
And-
being backstage and having people just like no problem just changing costumes
Oh,
and
yeah.
clothes and
Well,
yeah,
I mean-
it was weird at 1st. I thought it was very weird at first. We were at, the weird one for me was we were in Louisville, Kentucky, and this just was like 6 months ago on the tour we were on. So we go in, and we did a drag bar. And so there was dudes and girls in the back, girls dressing like dudes, and dudes dressing like girls. So it was just kind of a strange situation to be in that dressing room. I thought, I've seen it, but this is bizarre.
Oh, definitely. But
So wait, you were doing a gig at a transvestite drag
Yeah, there's
show.
a huge drag bar in
How does that
Louisville,
work?
Kentucky.
Like, okay, before
They have a stage and a full audience. That's how it works.
Well,
It's
but
awesome.
it's like before the drag queens. Here's Morgan Preston.
No,
With
what they did is they actually produce it like a show. So it's all like they have a lady that comes out and talks and gets everybody into it and very flamboyant. And she came out and welcomed everybody and then brought the first comic up, told them what was going on. Then
Was
they'd
she
have
a dude or was she a chick?
If I say she, it's a dude.
Okay.
I'm just saying what I saw.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very strange. It's not these people were some of the coolest people ever, and the show was great. And it's like that Julia's across the street from Jai Tai. The place
Yeah.
is packed, and they put on, and all it is really is them doing like
just drag shows, I believe.
it's not karaoke. They're not singing.
It's
Most
like
of them
show
don't
tunes.
sing,
They're
but
just
they're like
act
lip
out,
syncing.
yeah.
Lip syncing, like play
Thank
the
God.
song.
Yeah, exactly.
You want some dude out there singing?
Yeah, I don't care. You want to put them on and go dance up. Yeah, that's all fine. But I don't want to hear it.
We tried to get Andrew just to go out and do stand up and drag. I said, dude, you'd be the fucking hero. I wasn't going to do it. It was my idea to tell him to do it, so you can't flip that back on me.
So have you done some of these shows, Bob? Some of these drag queen?
Well, I have not actually. I've been tempted. I do have the outfits, but it's like comedy. It's taking me a while to get the
wait.
courage.
I didn't say to go like that far.
I didn't mean as a
what do you
singer.
mean
I
you
meant
have
as
the
a
outfit?
comedian.
Doing drag shows as a comedian? Oh, all the time. Of course. Feminists and drag people love me.
But your grandpa was getting the real deal. He was
Oh,
the
dude,
biggest.
yeah. I mean, like,
Showgirls.
Were these the type of stories that your grandfather told you while you sat on his knee? Like, let me tell you about Cindy. She was a hoe. I'm just.
Honestly,
Bobby, smell my fist.
And how big were those? How big were those headdresses back then?
Oh, they were well. Interestingly enough, my grandmother was the head seamstress at the Stardust Hotel, so she'd be the one.
Oh, so your
making all that
grandmother's
shit.
in the business too.
Yeah,
All right.
virtually
Okay.
everybody in my family is, But
This sounds like gypsies. I know gypsies were mentioned earlier. This sounds like
It
Did
is
you
kind
have
of
a
gypsy-ish.
freaking wagon?
Heavy on the
That
gypsy.
wow.
oh goodness,
He
but
drives a fucking Lincoln. You know that? And it's lowered in the back like all gypsy cars are. I don't know why.
I think that just might be because the Sharks can't take it anymore in the back.
They got a bunch of gold.
They're hauling cash. Didn't they
yeah.
jump into their action in
I'm
Spokane?
serious. We used to see
and
them
grab like
in
$1 million
Yakima.
bucks?
You'd see them. They always drive a Lincoln Continental, and that fucking thing is always way low in the back.
because they got a body in the
They
trunk,
got
right?
some shit. They got something in the trunk. Some of your shit, and they're leaving town.
Some of your shit. Whatever's in the trunk, who knows? But you probably own some of it. That's basically. At least you used to own some.
So
of
we're
it.
trying to take this serious, Robert.
Oh, I'm right there with you, my friend, all the way.
That's hilarious.
Well, I hate. I don't want to get too distracted. I'm kind of high, but I just.
We're staying on track pretty good.
So your grandfather and your grandmother now
So what
are
period?
with the mafia.
What period of time was this? When
I have a bunch of stories about the Vegas Mafia, but what's that?
the Jewish mafia?
Oh yeah, the Jewish
So
syndicate.
you
This is
guys-
40s, 50s then.
Yeah, 40s, 50s. Like,
So you're anti-Semitic. Show business. Well, anybody in show business sooner or later learns to hate those people.
potentially.
Edit.
Nah, that's funny.
I don't give a shit.
Leave it in. Oh man.
Sue me. Bob Dylan's already mad at me for the name.
Anybody who would wish to sue this podcast, please direct your comments to the comedy web.
I think there's a guy that invented podcasting suing the podcast. So, I mean, let's get in line. Let's all get sued.
Oh yeah, that's true. He's trying to patent the idea,
Which is
of,
weird
like,
because it's like iTunes is pushing this stuff out.
Well, I haven't really said anything about this before, but it just so happens I invented stand-up comedy.
Oh,
That's,
okay.
I'm
Who are you gonna
I'm
sue?
Patent on that. I'm suing
Jeff Dye?
I'm suing all of you fuckers, including Jeff Bridges and Scott Moran or
Oh,
whoever.
man, you're going after Sam Elliott, you bastard.
Yeah, Sam Elliott.
Just when
It's
I
going
got
down.
the Texas accent down. So what time frame was this?
This would be the 40s and the
40s, you
50s.
said.
Like when my
shit.
grandfather got back.
Isn't
from-
that like Meyer Lansky kind of?
Yeah, oh, dude, you want to
yeah.
hear some stories? I got some stories about
Green?
that.
So he rubbed elbows with
Sam
Meyer
Green?
Lansky?
Oh
those
yeah,
guys?
like yeah. When you were, I don't think Sam Green was a real guy.
one of those guys. It was
Sam Green.
These are all names.
sometimes that confused me. I
Oh, totally. But if you were around in those times and you were working in Vegas, you knew all those people. You know
Bugsy
what I mean?
Siegel.
Yeah.
Right?
Bugsy
There's
Siegel
another
was the first one. He's the one that
Because they
started
were
the
in their
Flamingo.
hotels walking around. and
Exactly. And also, the Mafia had the philosophy back then that you pay everybody extremely well. That way, everybody's
they
happy
won't
to be
steal
there.
from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the golden age and at the time to be in Vegas back then. And my father, he actually started as a coffee boy or whatever the fuck you call it.
Barista.
That's
That's
what
my
Seattle
God.
calls it.
A 1950s
A
barista.
barista. I don't
Yeah.
know. That maybe that's the male term. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Mr. Barista. I don't know.
Barista.
But he used to serve coffee to Mickey Cohen, who is the big Jewish gang
yeah,
leader in L.A. And every time my father would bring him coffee, Mickey Cohen would slip a golden dollar into his pocket. So my father was like, fuck everybody else here, and just would stand there with coffee, pouring it for Mickey Cohen while he was in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
So he was the mafia's bitch. Is basically what you're.
No, he was a
I-
smart man.
I think that's the running theme through my whole family's history,
Well,
actually.
and I guess everybody in Vegas at the time was basically the mafia's bitch. So.
Oh, totally. But I mean, everybody's making money. I mean, it's a beautiful time in our history. I mean, it's
It's
incredible.
true. It's sad that it's a bygone era.
Definitely.
I mean, if only we could go back to the days when the thugsters and the gangsters ruled and we could serve them coffee.
Oh,
for
they still
some
do.
gold
No,
dollars. It's true.
wait a minute. Let's
I'm
not
just
get
talking about
out
I
of
want my trickle down for my cup of coffee, right? That's the part that's been removed from the whole picture.
I
Totally.
get it. I get it.
But for instance, another story about the mafia in Vegas. Have you guys seen the movie Casino before?
Yeah, I was just going to
Of
bring that
course.
up. Wasn't Robert De Niro was playing? Which one was?
He was playing a character named Ace Rothstein, which was based on a guy named Lefty Rosenthal.
Rosenthal, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
Casino.
yeah.
I love that movie. Now, there's a
Oh.
good movie. I don't know whatever movie Hennigan was talking about earlier, not making any sense, but Casino, that's a good movie.
I've seen
Very
that.
good movie.
Sharon Stone, you know, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the restaurant that Nicky Spalaccio, or whatever the fuck his name was in the movie, that was a real place called the Leaning Tower of Pizza, and it was owned by a dude named Jasper, who essentially, like, he would come over and be like, "Hey, come into my restaurant anytime you want, free on the house," to my grandparents.
Yeah, but never trust a guy named Jasper. It's just-
Well, funny
real.
story. My grandfather actually wound up on the trial or on the jury of his trial later on when he went away for racketeering.
Jasper?
Yeah.
See, I nailed it. What'd I tell you, folks?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because that's a fucked up man.
Hennigan just woke up. And, whoa, hey, that's some fucked up stuff right there, folks. I just want you to know.
I went to grade school, junior high school with a kid named Hassel.
Hassel?
His first name was Hassel. Fucked up. What kind of chance did he have?
It's better than Dick Trickle, that NASCAR driver.
Yeah,
Remember him?
yeah.
He
Shot
embraced
himself
it,
in the
though.
face.
Oh, how-
Dick
Oh
Trickle?
no, I guess he didn't embrace
No,
it. I
yeah,
forgot
he
about
shot
that.
himself
yeah,
in
he
the
did kill
face,
himself.
which, you know, I mean, a name like Dick Trickle, it's just a matter of time, really. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah,
So-
but you know what? He had the money. He could have switched that up.
His name?
Yeah, Dick
Yeah.
Trickle. I mean, come on. I would
Or
definitely
even
spend some
Rich
money.
Trickle.
Vaginal discharge.
Richard.
I don't know. We're going to go with
Trickle
that.
down.
I gotta say, if I owned a business, I'd much rather sponsor Dick Trickle than Jeff Gordon. You know what I mean? Like, Dick Trickle may never win, but goddamn it, everybody.
People are definitely talking about him. Though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Once again, off track. Let's get where we
Okay.
at.
Oh, okay.
Dick Trickle, he got a shot and cleared it all up.
We're like, there's a
So
squirrel.
They were working around Vegas back when
No,
in the
yeah, so-
Rat Pack
Oh, yeah.
was just starting to come into the Sahara and the dunes.
Oh,
and-
yeah.
and,
So Bob's grandfather was in Casino. We've established that.
so he was selling coke to the Rat Pack, is
Well,
what I understand.
I
right,
can't confirm
Robert?
or I can't confirm or deny that.
Okay, just a
be honest.
rumor, just a little,
Just a rumor.
that hidden closet.
So, I mean, but when you hung out with your grandfather, did he talk about these times? Did he have pictures of him, like, rubbing elbows
Just him and
with
the
the
chicks,
mob?
and that was
or-
it. Not so much.
Honestly, like he's just this sweet old man who has this side that's like, don't fuck with me. But he's just a sweet old man. I think that's why.
Is he packing heat?
He
That's
very
where-
well could
Yeah,
be.
of course he's
Oh,
back. And
guy.
he rubbed elbows with the mob. I think that's the first thing
It's a
they
legitimate question.
Yeah, like he was legit. So I think it's very, and also he was I think he was some big deal in the army in World War II, and like he's just a badass.
Although there's nothing scarier than like a 92-year-old guy with a gun. That's kind of like not.
Yeah, because like he goes away for how long? A year, 2?
Exactly. He's done anyways. He
giving him
doesn't
life,
even know
but
he
he's
had
like,
a gun.
whatever.
They probably won't even lock him up. They just go, you know what? Just we'll wait it out. You're not doing it.
That's what I want to do when I get to be like, I know it's gonna like be the end. I want to do a heist or some shit. So if anybody's in,
Oh yeah,
talk to me later.
Oh, I'm in for that
All
shit.
right, yeah, we'll do a heist. I don't want anybody to get hurt. I just want to do a heist, like a movie.
All right, so granddad pops out dad.
Yes. Now my dad is probably one of the wildest people I've ever met in my life. Like to
He's
give
got
you,
the gypsy genes.
Gypsy Gene.
I've never been called a gypsy in my life, and I find this
I'm
hilarious.
running with it.
right
I'm
now.
sticking with it now. It's good.
Get used to it, Robert.
All right, I guess I'm a fucking gypsy.
Is
now.
it Romania? I'm looking it up. I think it's Romanies.
I think you're right, actually. But
They're actually from northern India.
Now, was your grandfather living in Vegas? Was that where your dad was born, or?
well, essentially, my father was born in Vegas. Or I'm sorry, my father was born in Temple, Texas, and then the whole family moved up to Vegas because of career opportunities because of the entertainment boom at the time. So my father started as the doorman at the.
Plus, it burned down the theater. It was time to move on.
Well, again, I can't confirm or deny that, but
I think you can. We want to know.
So then
He's taken the Fifth Amendment, what, 6 fucking times?
I know he hasn't even done anything.
I
Yeah, it's
know,
not
it's
even.
just-
This is just his
That's
family.
just your
Some-
family. It's just shady. You just don't want to admit to anything.
well, I told you guys where I'm coming from. Man.
So your dad basically Bugsy Siegel was your dad's babysitter, is what you're telling us, right? He
Something
was a
similar to
little
that.
kid around these guys.
Oh
right?
yeah, and like my father just had an insane wild streak. For instance, he was the first person to ever throw soap suds at the fountain at the Caesar's Palace. You know the big fountain
Is that a
outside. It's
thing? I
legendary.
don't know anything about Vegas. Is that a thing you do?
There's a huge, famous fountain outside Caesar's Palace. My dad,
know
as a
that
young
much.
kid, took soap suds and just threw as many soap suds in as he could, so that the whole thing would just start boiling over and completely fucked up. The
Yeah, that would
casino.
cause a problem.
Back then, it was considered funny, but people have lost their.
We'd take liquid soap detergent because it would suds like a motherfucker and throw that shit in there. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then it'd just fucking run down the street.
I've never done that,
Oh,
and I am
man.
going.
You
to do
have
that.
not lived.
I am going to.
It
Do. That's
sounds-
going to
it-
happen this week.
It sounds
Well, that's pretty wild. I mean, I gotta admit. I
Well,
know, that's-
it gets better. I mean, this
No.
is him as a young kid.
it
you know?
sounds dangerous and irresponsible to me, but please. Continue.
Okay, I'll continue.
Thank God.
Another great story is that my father, when he was a kid, he hiked up a mountain called Sunrise Mountain. Now, Sunrise Mountain was adjacent. You could be seen from an Air Force base called Nellis, which is one of the biggest Air Force bases in the country. So my father took out a flashlight, started flashing SOS signals at the fucking Air Force base
Once again, dangerous and irresponsible.
to the point that the sheriff's party sent out 3 search parties coming up the mountain trying to find these signals, right? So my father and his friend just walked out right between all the search parties. Cops never even fucking saw him. Got in a taxi, went home. Next day on the front page of the Las Vegas paper, mystery lights on Sunrise Mountain. And my grandmother blackmailed my father about that for years, telling him if he ever fucked up, she would tell the Air Force who sent the signals and all this crazy shit, man.
Damn.
So basically, it was like this was on the front page of the paper,
Yeah, yeah.
and in a side note, there was a bunch of suds in the Caesar's Palace.
Yeah, my father
fountain.
destroyed the Caesar's
Man,
Caesar's Palace.
You need to get your dad one of those laser pens. Man. You need to go nuts with one of those.
Oh, definitely. Even as a 7-year-old, I wouldn't trust him with that shit. But goodness, man. And basically, what happened was my father, he worked his way up as a lighting director in the showrooms at Vegas. And at that time, like I said, there was a boom going on, so there wasn't too many talented people. So my father got to work with so many people, and it was just wildness at the time. For instance, the first person my father was the lighting director for was Judy Garland. And it started with Judy Garland.
She's pretty big.
She's all right. I don't know.
What's she been in?
Oh, goodness. And
Nursing home for 25 years. But
And-
anyway.
And from there, he just got into like the Vegas party lifestyle. And I mean, for instance, like the first time he met Frankie Valli, He was so drunk that he tumbled down the stairs, the catwalk.
Your dad?
Yeah, he's tumbled down the stairs. He was so drunk. He was lighting directing for Frankie Valli, tumbled down, landed right at Frankie Valli's feet. You know what I mean?
So being a lighting director is pretty easy. You can be blind drunk and be like, I got this. I got this.
Oh, definitely. Well, the way my father put it is that he would work 3 hours a night, go sit at the bar, drink until it was time to work again the next day, and then just go back, work 3 hours. And because there was so much money going around in Vegas at the time, everybody was so well taken care of that it wasn't even a thing back then. So it's incredible. But I mean, what stories? What do you guys want to? What stories you guys want to hear? My father's been fired by Frank Sinatra. My father.
Yeah, I want to hear that one.
Okay.
Like what happened there?
Okay,
Because
so-
Frank was an asshole, which is awesome.
Frank was a bipolar motherfucker who was impossible to work with, and I don't kill me, Frank Sinatra's people for saying that, but he was crazy from what I hear.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
I
why,
think he's
but I
the
thought
only
for
show
sure.
business person that's like that.
What's that?
I think he's the only person in show business.
I read the unauthorized biography that he tried to squash, but it was awesome, and it had some great story. And yeah,
Kelly,
he was a total
was that
ass.
the one who wrote it?
I'm not
Kitty
sure
Kelly?
who wrote it. Really, it's like a really big, thick one. I mean,
Wow.
he did stuff like go with whatever Ava Gardner, and they'd go to out of town to Palm Springs and shoot the town up,
Strangle small
and
children.
then somebody would have to go rescue him and freaking get shit to the papers and
Stomp a
pay
puppy
some
to death.
people off. But these guys were nuts, dude.
Oh, dude, it's
So your
insane.
dad was a lighting guy for Frank Sinatra then, or did he have it?
Yeah, essentially what would happen is a performer, the hotel would bring in a performer for 2 weeks to a month or whatever and be like, you know, this fucking act, woohoo. And since my father was the in-house lighting director, he'd be the one who'd have to design all the lighting rigs and the whole show from that perspective. So when Frank Sinatra came into town, my father was the lighting director for him, right? And all of a sudden, here comes Frank Sinatra on the stage, and Frank doesn't like something, like one light's out of fucking whatever. So my father starts having an argument with Frank Sinatra on the stage, right? And Frank goes, okay. Then Frank walks off, and all of a sudden, this giant bodyguard who's bigger than me comes up to my dad and tells him, "You need to leave." And my dad's like, "Why?" And I also have stories about my dad fighting Sonny Liston too. So, but so essentially, bodyguard came, and about two other bodyguards came up and actually ushered my father out of the building. So he's fired by Frank Sinatra, and. My father is, to show you his crazy streak, I just remember this story. Sonny Liston used to train at the Dunes Hotel or whatever hotel it was in Vegas. And my father would walk by him every day just talking shit to Sonny Liston, talking about how he could kick his ass, to the point that Sonny Liston challenged him to spar with them. And, well, the lackey...
How'd that work out?
It's like the lackey streak it runs in all our blood.
So your father was
Ran
Irish,
away.
you said, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
So did he
that's
lose?
kinda-
No, he ran away. He did the...
Oh,
he did
he-
the
I wish he'd have went in and fought him.
You know what?
You should have said that.
You probably wouldn't be here.
I would not be
Here-
here.
here's the deal.
I
though.
shook his hand, not your dad, but Sonny Liston. I met him in a record store in Anchorage, Alaska in 1965.
Oh, yeah?
After he'd lost to Ali, and I shook his hand. I thought he was a musician. Found out later it was Sonny Liston.
He played guitar in the Birds
Because
or something.
him and whoever was with him signed his name. He had Sonny down pretty good, but Liston threw him. And his,
wait a minute, this
his
guy-
buddy had to whisper in his ear, I-S-C-O-N.
Really?
Yeah, he'd been hit.
Yeah, he took a
couple
couple
times.
to
He
the
took
chin.
a few.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you're going to talk a bunch of shit about Sonny Liston,
He's dead, right?
Well, I'm talking about even in the day, like Bob's dad. Like the least you can do is then go up there and get your ass kicked by him. Right?
No,
you
fuck
don't-
no. That'd be stupid.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, challenge him to a lighting fucking.
Okay, well, look at it this
thing,
way.
you know.
Look at it this way. It's
Let's light some stages. Let's see who's bad.
it's basically the choice between having that story about the time you ran away from Sonny
Yeah.
Liston or having that story
you
about the
got your
time
ass
Sonny
kicked.
Liston kicked your ass. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's something to be said.
Well,
for
I had a fucking
When
run.
when time travel's possible, we need to go back and switch that up.
I would be down to do that.
Yeah.
we got to get your dad's ass kicked. That's
Just tell him his future son would be disappointed if he doesn't do it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about him on a podcast, and everybody's going to know.
Well, he had no idea, see, because he didn't go to the future and see what the fuck was going to be happening.
See, yeah, he should have time traveled if
his
it was all
bad,
going to
his
happen
bad.
properly.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So then what?
Well, essentially, I'm gonna.
What happened?
Let me fast forward. I'll just tell you guys the best story of them all. Essentially, what happened was my father became a big thing in Vegas, but he kept getting fired because he was a drinker. You know what I mean? He'd party there, so.
He was Irish.
Exactly.
And he ran away from Sonny Liston.
So he was a gypsy,
I heard his
he was a
street cred.
gypsy Irish guy. That's just a mess.
That's
Totally.
no street cred.
Yeah, those mafia guys kind of turned their nose up at him after that.
Yeah. Even the Jewish mafia guys, they weren't even that tough. They could hire somebody to lean on you.
Oh goodness, man.
But anyway,
But what happened was my father had to get out of Vegas. He was just sick of it, right? So essentially,
He
what happened
burnt the
was
theater down. Okay.
so that's all right. So essentially, like he had the option. He could either go be the road manager for Neil Diamond, or he could go
Oh
be
my
the,
God.
or he could go be
Jesus.
the road manager for Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Oh, I'd have done Neil
Jesus,
Diamond
what a
all day
choice.
long.
How does that happen though? How does
He's
it
still
like? Well, you
going.
know, I guess I could go be the road manager for Neil Diamond. How is that even an
Well, it's
option?
such a small little world when you're in it.
It's like comedy, man. It's like people you work with
Yeah,
people
I guess I
and
could see
people
that.
know, you know what I mean. And since everybody's coming into Vegas, everybody's worked with my dad. So
Right.
because my
So
dad,
they're like, let's get that guy. He's fun. He parties and he does a good job. Let's do
He's
this.
got that great Sonny Liston story.
tell him about that time. Robert, Senior?
So did he run off with Neil Diamond or did he run off with Paul Revere?
well,
and,
what happened was he had the
Wait,
choice.
wait. Before you say that, who would you have went with?
Well, yeah, go with the winner. Go with Paul, what's his name? The fucking Neil Diamond. Horrible. But
I would have
At least
I
it's
would
gonna
have
be
went with
around.
Neil Diamond.
yeah, well, of course, because the other guys, the ones dressed up as Paul Revere and the Raiders
yeah.
from the 1700s, they're not going to go anywhere.
How about,
what was
how
their
about you?
big-
You would have taken some mushrooms and went with Paul Revere and the Raiders.
They're
wouldn't you?
playing-
Oh
at the
man, I would have
Puyallup
taken some
Fair.
mushrooms and went with Neil Diamond, man. The jazz singer, right? Wasn't
Are
it?
you kidding? The guy fucking,
yeah.
They're coming to America. They're all day, man, all day long.
Yeah.
Especially on mushrooms.
I had a
Forever
buddy.
in blue jeans. Yeah, yeah, dude. Which,
Yeah,
Like-
you'd have to go with that guy. I had a buddy who his wife worked in a clothing store on Rodeo Drive, and Neil Diamond, his wife used to come in there and shop. So she was buying something, and so my buddy's waiting around for his wife to get off work, and Neil says, "Yeah, we're playing here at the Hollywood Bowl. You know, got a couple tickets if you'd like." And my buddy said, "Nah, no thanks." He said, "Man, I could have hawked a bit, man. Just being able to say no to this fucking douchebag
Well, what was,
was worth it."
what was Paul Revere and the Raiders' big hit? I don't even know.
Yeah, nobody does.
Indian.
They don't even know.
I grew up.
They
with
still
them, so I can
play,
tell you
right?
Every song. Yeah, they're still down.
Really?
They're in
Yeah,
Dollywood.
they,
They're in-
I was going to say, what do they do, like the
casinos.
Indianapolis State
what
Fair
was
or
it?
whatever?
Louie. They did a version of Louie Louie.
Yeah.
Washington's the only state in the union that has a song about finger fucking as the state song. I just think that's beautifully ironic.
Louis
Or whatever.
Louis about finger fucking.
It's about finger fucking.
And
some
it's the state
13-year-old
song.
girl. Jesus Christ.
yeah, isn't it weird that time period? Because I worked with
Maybe 15 now.
the guy that did the song. Crap, I can't even remember. Keep going. I'll think of it.
Louie Louie's not about fingering a 13-year-old.
Whatever. You know. Let's get back to the show business portion.
All right. Well, if you want, maybe you could pull up Louis Louis by Paul Revere and
Yeah,
the Raiders.
it was. Yeah,
It's a distinct possibility.
They did it, but also the Kingsmen did
The original.
the one that actually.
Oh, who
sold.
I was thinking of because you were talking about the finger fucking thing. All that during that time period, Gary Puckett was doing "Young Girl, Get Out of My Life." All this like
Yeah, but we don't
weird,
know where he was from.
But he's still running around now doing this.
Gary Puckett and the Union Gap, named after the junior high I went to.
In Yakima.
But he was never anywhere near it. He just liked the name.
Yeah, and now they're touring fairs in.
Oh, thank God, because
yeah.
he's 100 fucking years old.
160.
Still
And Paul
milking
Revere
it.
and the Raiders. They're all on that same circuit, huh?
Oh yeah, man. I mean,
damn it, he
show
had
Three
business-
Dog Night.
Show business is so crazy.
They were
like,
Australian, though.
I've been in fucking high school auditoriums in Montana with like the platters, like the old R&B.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
just like,
Was it the original Platters, or they have like two guys? Or
no,
how's that
no.
work?
It's like the.
Did they all have the same color suit on?
Oh, of course.
Okay,
of course.
it was the real Platters.
But it was like the fifth generation. It's like the record
Yeah.
company brought in these really talented people, and they're like 30, but they're trying to pass them off as the old 70-year-olds.
It's the road
Because they
show.
own the name.
The road
Exactly.
show Platters.
Yeah, here they are.
Yeah, I saw.
Dressed up like revolutionary
Yeah.
people singing songs about apparently finger banging 13
No,
year
no,
olds.
no. That was a Kingsman. These
Oh.
guys, they played it pretty safe. They did songs about America and fighting the British and stuff. I don't know.
Fighting the
what
British.
fuck. They
That
were
was-
delusional.
that
They
was-
got a hold of some bad mushrooms, I think, whatever. Look at the way they're dressed.
It's true. Yeah, well,
Look
and
like that fucking...
well, fighting the British was big in the 60s.
Looks like the
too.
Renaissance fair is what they look like. They look like a bunch of fucking
They look
goofballs
like the
trying to
guys who
sell
did
you some
YMCA.
candles in
Who's those
Eugene.
guys? YMCA
Village
guy,
people.
Village people. Yeah,
they were
the
awesome.
costumes. Yeah, no, they weren't.
So who did your dad go with? Neil Diamond or Paul Revere and?
Well,
Crazy
essentially,
People?
what happened was if he went with Neil Diamond, he'd have security and money, and it would be
Yeah.
awesome. Or he could go with this wild rock band that was just out of their minds, make less money but have a better time. So, of course, he went with the rock
the
band.
Raiders.
Definitely.
How long did that last?
6 weeks.
He's doing a show tomorrow night at Puyallup Fairgrounds.
They turned down Woodstock.
Wow.
That's true. I think that's true, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I
Paul
think so.
Revere and the Raiders turned out they
The number one song in the country, the band that had the number one song, they called from the airport and they called Woodstock and said, "Okay, we're here. Where's the limo?" And they said, "Well,
Funny
it's,
story about
you
the
know,
limo.
you got to get out here, but and there's no limo, but you got to get the fuck out here." And they decided not to, and they disappeared.
I bet that was Bob's dad's
They
idea.
did,
I bet Bob's dad was standing there in the corner
Yeah,
saying,
that
"Yeah,
was
you
Paul
don't want to do
Revere
this
and the Raiders.
Woodstock
No,
thing. This Woodstock
Fuck
thing
this.
is
Let's
gonna
go
be a
get
bust."
drunk.
It was in
It's no good.
Agata La Vida.
Oh,
Iron
Butterfly.
Yeah.
Iron Butterfly decided not to go to Woodstock.
Here's some
And
synchronicity.
it just disappeared. I saw him at the fucking racetrack in Yakima in the early 80s.
Oh,
they had
dude.
the
They played the-
original
and they- and
drumstick.
They played
They
the
were-
halftime show at the racetrack.
They were
Oh
the
yeah, there was no race. It was just them. It was horrible.
Oh,
It was
Iron,
so
Iron
demeaning.
Butterfly was the first. I was a lighting director. My dad brought me up. They were the first band I ever lighting directed for at the fucking Kittitas County Fair on this little stage.
It's all getting too strange, man.
A small world. This lighting directing stuff goes deep, though, man. This is like
It's
a
like the
family
comedy community.
tradition, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy how many generations deep you can be a lighting director.
Just,
Oh,
do
definitely.
3 or 4 lighting directors ever jump in a van and go bouncing off across the country to fucking Montana to
Oh, yeah.
light a show for some fucking shithole?
Oh yeah, man, dude,
All
it's
right.
the exact same thing. I bounced around in the fucking back of a semi truck through my entire childhood as we were going off to little fucking towns.
Like you're in a
Nobody.
circus.
Oh, it was literally like that. It's like going off to these
So
little.
what do
towns.
you think of when you smell diesel?
I think I'm gonna have to carry base cabinets for 12 fucking hours.
Wow. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, because you were the dude loading shit in and out.
That's
got to
how
be
I started,
the hell
yeah.
of it.
I mean, the reason I'm so thankful now for everything I have and why I love comedy so much is I'm not carrying fucking speakers.
He's
around
like,
for
this
12 hours."
microphone is so light.
And you don't have to deal with assholes.
Well,
Oh, that's not true. That's, actually, that's not.
I can't
exactly.
confirm or deny that.
Yeah, exactly.
But going back a little bit, I just want to tell you guys this one story. So I'll tell you the story of how my father got arrested for being a sniper in Louisiana. If you
He was the Louisiana.
Back
He
when
was.
he was the Louisiana.
Back when that was illegal.
So essentially, what happened was they're staying at the 5-star hotel down in Louisiana, right? The biggest hotel in New Orleans, I believe. So they're on the top floor of this hotel.
With guns.
Well, let me get there.
It's Louisiana. They have
Yeah.
a little more liberal gun law.
Totally. So my father's lighting firecrackers, and he's throwing them out the top floor window by the bass player's head.
Good decision.
Great decision. So he's throwing them out, and what happened was in Louisiana, they just had a sniper there about 6 weeks ago. So people are looking up and they're seeing puffs of smoke, and they're hearing bangs coming out of the top floor of this hotel. So the place gets surrounded by. I actually have a bunch of notes about this. The place gets surrounded by the fucking SWAT team, right? And they're going up the hotel, and who do they find on the top floor but my father? Now, for part of the
With
show,
firecrackers and a bucket of lime.
You want some of this?
so what happened was there's a gun in the suitcase my
Remember
father's
Temple
carried.
Theater? Go ahead, sorry.
I'm sorry. So They find the gun that's a stage prop for the show, right? But it's a fucking gun, and they just
What
saw
show
Puffs-
was this?
The Paul Revere and the Raiders.
They had a gun?
Well, what happens is they're a bunch of revolutionaries, right?
Yeah.
So they had guns as part of props in the stage act.
Wow.
With
They
their
just shoot
costumes.
him off in the middle of the guitar solo or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. No, it's if you go see Paul Revere and the Raiders, it's one of the
I don't think I
craziest
will,
shows.
but-
He should, man. You should drop acid
like
with me. and
Guar.
go.
Oh,
Okay, well,
man.
that's starting to sound interesting.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Like,
They-
What's so
Yeah.
why? So he carried the gun around with him. Then after the show, he's like, you never know when you're going to need a stage gun. I
That
guess.
doesn't fire, that you have to throw at people.
Did it look like a big like revolutionary style gun or
Like
was
a
it
musket?
yeah, like-
from my understanding, it was just I don't know what it was. From my understanding, it was just a straight up handgun. I don't know the
Like
circumstances.
a 38 special.
Yeah, they just found a handgun
Wow.
on him. That's all I know. So essentially what happened is the SWAT team carries my fucking father out of this hotel, and there's news cameras and there's TV crews outside to the point that like Walter Cronkite that night did a story about this and had a video of my father looking like a goddamn hippie in short shorts with this Wayne Newton mustache with his hands
short
handcuffed on-
shorts?
Oh yeah, it was the 70s back then. Just with
Police
the
arrested.
I
David
want this
Crosby.
footage. I want this footage.
got to find.
have
We
it.
need that footage. We
Yeah.
need the naked chicks with your grandfather.
I do have the newspaper clipping of this.
Please tell me he didn't have a shirt on.
No, but it was like a tight shirt, and he was a little chubby at the time.
It's like he's got those Jacques Cousteau tight ass shorts.
It's the Wayne Newton mustache.
Wow. Like everybody in Pride Week dresses.
Did he have a sweet
Very
mullet?
close. What's that?
Did he have a sweet mullet?
I would say it's like a '70s Wayne Newton long, like.
So
long
yeah,
not
like
quite a
foofy.
mullet, but I see.
Like every time I see pictures of my dad, I think of chubby Wayne Newton in those times. You know what I mean?
That's
Oh,
all
you
right.
got a little chubby there too.
So a chubbier.
Hennigan
Wayne
Dr.
noticed.
Shane, darling Dr. Shane.
Yeah.
So did he do time for this?
Well, what happened was my father or the band. They need the road manager, right? So they got all the gig money from doing the shows that week, which was about 10 grand. Put that together, got him out on bail, right? So he's got to go face the case later. Oh, this is the best part. He's in jail while all this is going on, and he's got to call his mom and tell him that it was all a publicity stunt because they just saw on the news that their son just got arrested for being a fucking sniper in Louisiana, right? So fast forward, the band gets all the money together, goes and puts bail up for him, gets him out of jail. He's got to come back 6 weeks later and face the case. He walks into the judge's office, and the judge looks at his paper, sees that he was born in Louisiana, and he goes, What's a good Louisiana boy like you doing in all this trouble? And charged my dad a $50 fine because he's a white guy from Louisiana. So
So they figured it
Is
out.
that a $50 fine?
I'm
Being
assuming.
a white guy from Louisiana.
So did he have to go back there from somewhere? Or did he have to stay in town?
I think he had to stay in town, or there was something. I don't know exactly.
So
but-
they sorted it out, like before he went into court, obviously. 'cause-
exactly.
It was the '60s. He was white. It was the South. It was a done deal.
Yeah.
It's like,
The
are you white or
Jewish-
black?
the
You're
Jewish
white. We're done
mafia
here.
stepped in there.
He told him his story about that time he challenged Sonny Liston. There, like, we don't want any of this guy. This guy's a maniac.
We've heard of you. That's $50, white man.
Oh goodness! I also have stories about my father getting prostitutes for the band, drugs and sex parties,
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, what kind of drugs and sex shit went on?
It was Paul Revere. They had such a.
They were definitely
goody-
into costumes
They
and
were
shit.
like a bubblegum band.
Yeah,
Like
I have
kinda
a hard
like the
time-
Monkees?
I have a hard
Real
time
like
believing
13-year-old, 14-year-old girls that really like
Paul Revere and the
all their
Raiders.
songs about "Yes, you lay girl." You know, it's all this just singing right to their little fucking hairless.
Yeah, okay.
Just sick. With guns and shit. Not even the right era. You know? I got a 38. What? It's fucking Pioneer, you fuck.
Aren't you wearing a...
Yeah, what the hell is that? Raider? What kind of Raider are you? Oakland Raider?
Wow.
They're not
Goodness.
around.
Are you pulling it up right now?
Dude, and they came up with a name for their podcast quicker than we did, I bet.
Who did?
Paul Revere and the Raiders.
They. But I can't think of one fucking song.
Yeah, I can't either.
I even had an album of theirs. I hate to say it, but you know, I was
They
into
did,
music.
Kicks.
Indian Reservation.
Yeah.
Charity
Oh,
people.
and
You don't need kicks, girl.
We gotta get out of
What
this
was the other one? Indian
No, that was
Reservation?
the
What was the other
Animals.
one?
The good
That was
old
Eric Burden
days.
and
The
Animals.
Animals
They
were
covered
the
it.
best.
What's it gonna be? I guess.
Yeah, it's
Bunch of other shit.
Just like
Let's see, how many
Me.
can you name?
Boy, I could probably name an album because I grew up with them. I could probably do like
You
10.
could name an album?
I get.
Well, name a fucking album then. You mean you could name all the songs on an album?
I think
Let's
so.
hear it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And we're
Give me
gonna
three.
check this too. We're gonna
Give
check
me
it.
3.
give you. Okay, I can do that. I can give you
Okay.
Kicks. I can give you Indian Reservation. I know they covered. We got to get out of this place.
Well, they covered it. Everybody covered it. Fucking Cher covered
Here
it.
it is.
Yeah.
What's this one? I've never heard this song ever.
I had it
Paul
done.
Revere and the
That's
Raiders.
the album I had.
Is this Indian Reservation?
No.
Yeah, man, this is just like me. Yeah, I could see them shooting guns and finger banging
Okay,
a
play
13-year-old
something
girl.
else. Play something that, like, what's their most famous song?
Play Indian Reservation. That's probably their famous one.
Oh,
Is it racist?
Of course.
It could be.
Awesome.
We'll see. Honestly, it's been so long since I've listened to these.
Oh, really?
It's been never since I've listened
Got
to
him
this.
on my iPod.
I've never heard that last song. I've heard this.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, because you've driven across Wyoming in the middle of the night and you couldn't get the Evangelion.
It's got a Monkeys vibe.
Yeah, it's bubblegum.
In fact, it's got the same Monkeys.
They were from Portland.
Oh, these guys are from Portland?
Typical Portland.
Yeah, the dude looks like a strung out Sonny Bono.
Oh, yeah. He's living in Eugene's on food stamps. You know, the
He's
whole
real
man.
intense about it. I could see. These
Oh, are you
guys.
watching video?
Yeah, I'm seeing this off of YouTube, and
Do you Are you liking it?
well, this looks like it's a little bit beyond their revolutionary.
I think we're gonna get in. We're gonna get into the hook right now, right? We haven't hooked yet.
Have we turned into a radio show? What
I don't know. This sounds kind of good.
Morgan's digging the Paul Revere and the Raiders.
I don't know if I would
grew
buy
up with
this.
Shit. No, I didn't buy it. I stole it.
Bob's dad could have lit this very video. You never know.
He probably did.
Probably did,
Bob's
yeah.
dad, Robert's father, sold cocaine to these fucking people and got them hookers. He come and
There it is.
Oh yeah.
Cherokee tribe. Yeah.
Oh, he
okay.
knows
all
the
right.
words.
I just had to get to the hook. I've heard it. Yeah.
So your dad, given the choices of going with that fucking egomaniac
Neil Diamond. Play
and
some.
listen
Play
to
some.
Sherry 3,000.
Yeah.
fucking
Play the
times.
shittiest Neil Diamond song and
Oh,
see if it's
Jesus,
better than
that's
that.
going to take an hour to decide which is the shittiest of the shitty.
I love Neil Diamond.
Oh
I'm a
my
huge Neil Diamond.
God.
He's amazing. He's still here.
I have to admit, I have seen the film Coming to America. It was a beautiful masterpiece.
Are you a Neil Diamond fan?
I don't know
Dave
any
Chappelle.
albums or anything like that.
Oh, jeez.
But I was young, and my mom took me to the movie. And what can I say? I got swept away in the nostalgia of my youth and innocence.
I love Neil
and,
Diamond. He's a legend.
Yes, let's move on.
Here we go. Oh, we're going straight to Coming to America.
I don't even know what that has to do with Neil Diamond.
It's a very dramatic intro.
Is that his out?
This is his song. This is the beginning of Let's Get America Up. Let's do this.
There's no doubt. I'm not arguing the point that he did create a lot of really
He was a patriot
loud,
and a hero.
loud
Music.
songs. It
Oh, yeah,
makes you
they're
want to.
great.
Some of it's so overly dramatic, though, from this time period. It's kind of funny. I mean, he's got a freaking orchestra. Nowadays, everybody's making shit on their Mac.
He did all this himself. He's fucking Paul McCartney.
He
actually made
played
this
all
on
the
a Mac.
violins.
Nobody could stand to play with him.
With Neil
So he
Diamond.
ended up having to do it all himself because nobody could stand. It wasn't room for him and his ego and anyone else in the fucking studio.
I think that's how Prince likes to work, too.
Yeah, no doubt.
There it is.
No
Neil
idea.
Diamond, folks. I think that
Fabulous
this guy is way better than Paul.
Well, how do we
Revere.
get? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe your dad fucked up. Maybe
I think that's been
maybe your childhood would have been different had he gone with a winner.
That's
I think that's what this podcast has kind of come down to. Maybe some poor decisions were made in the entertainment industry.
We need to get Dad in here. And start
Yeah, we
this
want to
out,
talk
man.
to him.
yeah.
Point counterpoint.
Do you want to call him right now?
Can you call him?
Do you want me?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
could.
put that dude on the phone.
Let me,
We've got questions for him.
Hang on just a second. I'll give you. How do we do this? Can I write down the number and hand it to you?
Yeah.
I'll call. You call. I'll talk to him first, and then I'll tell him what's going on. And then,
Can you
God,
just
did
talk
he-
to him over that?
Did he know?
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Do you know how you're raking him over the coals down here? Breaking.
We're just going to
story
double
that-
check some facts.
Yeah, maybe I got some of this wrong. So
It'll be
that's probably a
good. Maybe,
idea.
maybe, hopefully it's the Sonny Liston thing. Maybe he did whoop his ass and you just don't remember
That's
that part
a
of the
very
story.
strong possibility.
Okay.
Maybe he just at least hired a couple guys that get him with a fucking baseball bat after he got off work.
Yeah.
Bam! There we go, motherfucker.
And that's why he can't spell his last name when he was trying to sign an autograph for you in Alaska.
He got punched a lot.
Wow, yeah.
He
no
got
kidding.
hit there at the end.
By the way, those are sirens, folks, that you're hearing.
He was a
Because
bad
we're in
dude.
Pioneer Square, the heart of Seattle,
Where Hard Rain Falls.
most of the time.
I don't Skype that often, so we'll see how this works out.
We can edit some of this, obviously.
Do you think he'll be around?
I think so.
What does he do? What does he do now? Is he still working or is he?
Right now, I think he works for a company called Video Equipment Rentals, which is part of Speed Films or something like that. So I don't really know. We don't really talk at Thanksgiving.
You don't talk to him, but you want us to. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, maybe we could solve some problems here.
I doubt it. My dad drove past my house every day on his way home from work for 7, 10 years and never stopped. Lived a half a block off his trail.
Yeah.
We were tight.
Just talk amongst yourself while I sort this out.
Okay. Joe, our producer,
Yeah.
is dragging up some fucking music from the 60s. Listening to it on his computer. Paul Revere and the motherfucking Raiders. Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah.
How about the Sonics? You remember the Sonics? Seattle band from
Vaguely.
the 60s?
Vaguely.
Yeah, they had a musical thing happen here.
Called the Sonics.
The Sonics.
That's kind of cool.
And they had a song called The Witch, which is just hauntingly beautiful.
Awesome.
But you guys don't know about it because people like Paul Revere and the Raiders, strictly second tier Portland rip-off fucking wannabe garage band. They didn't even have garages in Portland at the time. It was a carport band. That's all they had. Shit. We got nothing, man. That's us trying to improvise silence. Trying to fill silence with sound like Neil Diamond
Yeah.
does.
Well, and
Yeah,
I hate,
we can edit the shit out of it. That's what we do.
well, and I hate to
Best.
disappoint, but it looks like we need Skype credits in order to call this number up.
Oh,
And
okay.
I don't have the Skype credits, and I wasn't prepared to be actually making outbound phone
Skype
calls during.
fault. My
during
fault.
the, no, it's cool. It would have been cool. But
From transistor to Skype credits. Yeah, you just, you're going to have to take the hit. They'll probably never talk to you again if he ever hears it. And he may, because we have a name. We're one of the few fucking podcasts in America today that has our own name.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're back, too. We
Yeah,
couldn't
now,
get a
if you
hold
wanted
of
to, actually, there's somebody on chat that's suggesting you like that you have your dad call you, and you could maybe put him on speakerphone or something. Or
Honestly, the sound quality for that would probably be really shitty, wouldn't it?
it's I don't know. It's just it was somebody apparently desperately wants to hear from your dad so bad that they would reach
probably
out
his
on
mom.
chat. But it probably could be his mom.
Dude, we need to figure this out. That's probably the one dude that's listening. We should make that one guy happy. Come on, we got one fan that's like said, I'm gonna chat.
Oh, we got a fan? Who the fuck is that?
Yeah, he's chatting us. We got one guy,
One guy.
and we can't come up with it. Call your dad. Let's get him
is
on the
this
phone.
live? Is this going
Yeah,
over?
actually, we've got a stream going out. There's 15 whole people.
Wow,
that
that's
are
better than
watching.
none.
I am a fucking draw.
Someday,
Someday.
when the people are coming in on the flying
So they were
saucer.
probably totally stoked about all that dead air that we just gave them. Trying to Skype.
You know, this
Sorry,
is
folks.
This is a learning process.
Sorry, folks.
Improv.
We're,
We're doing
we're
card
caring,
tricks.
we're caring and sharing. Where else are they going to get this?
Do you seriously want me to call? Because I'll do it.
Well, we could try it.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, you might, I don't know how well the speaker is on your phone, but I mean, I'd love.
I want to
It'd be interesting to talk to him.
And I think he can call us too. I can give him the number to
Okay.
call us.
Okay,
That might work.
All right. I'll have him call in.
We'll give it a shot anyway.
Yeah, I'll give him the phone number to call. And
Hey, what's up, Dad? Hey, we're talking. Yeah, I'm fine. We're talking about you on the. Am I in fucking jail? No, I'm not in fucking jail.
that's the first words. Are you in jail?
Are you listening to the podcast right now? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, listen, we're talking about you a whole bunch. They want to know about the Sonny Liston story.
We want to know about a couple things.
They want to know about a couple. Well, listen, can you do me a favor?
It's an
Can you
experiment.
write
It's
down
my-
a phone number and call in? Okay.
This is the trouble with having kids.
What's that?
This is the trouble with having kids. They're always trying to pull you into their shit.
Yeah, I know. Huh? He's like, I didn't want anybody to know about any of that.
Really? I'm still in the
Well,
witness
basically,
protection.
I'm on
Robert
a
Lackey is
podcast
now
right I'm
calling
talking
his
about all your
father.
stories,
You forget I
and,
got warts,
all the other
son.
people here want to hear about the stories. So I thought it'd just be best to call you straight up and we'll talk to you on the podcast.
He's like, hell no.
That was the craziest laugh I ever just heard from my father. Yeah, listen, call into this number, all right? All right, what's the number?
It's area code 206
206?
206
973
973.
Just write this down. 206 973
3991.
3991. Yeah, call in.
We'll be waiting.
No, this isn't a joke. We're not gonna fuck. Well, I don't know. We may fuck. with you, but
Operators
it's
are
not a
standing
joke.
by.
Yeah, I've never done this part of it before, so it'll all be. an
So we're experimenting with him.
Okay. Yeah, I'll answer.
Someone will.
Don't ever come home. All right. All right. He's gonna call in just a second.
All right, we'll try to pick it up. This will be a first for me.
So to
experimenting
fill
with
everybody
phone
in, we've got
calls.
Robert Lackey's dad, who we've just talked about, and we questioned his decision on whether he should have went with Paul Revere and the Raiders or Neil Diamond. We have now made contact, and we're going to see if we can talk to him.
And I like
that
how
where we're at?
Yeah, and I like how the first words out of his mouth were, "Are you in jail?"
No,
and,
no. Are you in fucking jail?
Oh, are you in
was
fucking
his
jail?
exact
And,
sentence.
and the last words out of his mouth were, "Don't ever come home again." That's
A little peek into the Lackey household.
Sounds like my house. Beautiful. So yeah, we're just waiting for the phone call with intensity, and here we go. Here it comes.
Hello, can you hear us?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello?
Hey, what's up, Dad?
Hey, what are you doing? I can barely hear you.
We're on this podcast right now. I'm telling these guys all about your stories, and they got so curious they wanted to talk to you. So I was like, let's call them up.
Okay.
Okay, so essentially, I told them the Sonny Liston story. Maybe I don't think I did a good job telling it though. Maybe you could do it better.
Okay, I can barely hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? We're still working
Hello?
on it.
Hello.
No, he's having trouble hearing.
Bob?
Yeah. Dad.
Okay, I can barely hear you.
Okay, the Sonny Liston story.
You know, what about Sonny Liston?
What? Okay, now did you challenge him to fight you, or what happened exactly?
Who the fuck is Sonny Liston?
It's all falling apart now. This is all bullshit.
The boxer.
Okay, what about it?
Well, what happened? Did you
All right,
challenge
it
him?
was, okay, what happened was, it was still Cassius Clay. It wasn't Muhammad Ali.
Mhm.
He trained at the Stardust, and Sonny Liston trained at the Thunderbird.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we would go in every day, and we would set up the ring on the stage, and then people would come in. They would charge people to come in and watch him train for the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have any part of set up the ring, but I was just doing the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we started out, hello, kind of know, never really know each other, but or anything like that. But just wait people would say, how you doing today, and like that. And so we would stand on the backside of the ring and watch them train with these guys. And so me and all my infinite wisdom started kind of teasing him,
Antagonizing a heavyweight. You were antagonizing a heavyweight champion boxer.
That's true. But he was a cool guy. He really was. And
What kind of stuff
I
were
mean,
you-
what little I knew. I mean, I never saw him anywhere but there. and once in the restaurant where he was eating like a 32 freaking ounce steak.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so yeah, I say, is that the best you can do? I said, well, I could kick your ass with no problem at all. And so after about 3 days of this, he looked over at me and said, "Come on, get in the ring." And I said, "Sure, I don't mind kicking your ass." And so they put a pair of gloves on me. I got in the ring, and
Oh, I didn't know
there were
that.
two. No, I got in the ring, and there were two hits when he hit me and when I hit the floor.
Oh, he did fight him.
Okay.
He did fight him. Yeah. That's my
No,
dad.
whoa, wait a minute! I didn't fight him. He just knocked the shit out of me.
Well,
But you got in the ring
That's
and
right,
took the
yeah.
hit. That's what we were concerned
I
about.
never even got my gloves up in front of my face.
yeah. Well, we were saying earlier, if you're going to trash talk Sonny Liston, you at least need to get your ass kicked. The way Bob told it was you basically just ran away after you talked trash, and that's a different story altogether.
Truthfully, that would have been the smart thing to do, run away.
I think you made the right choice.
Yeah.
We question a couple other decisions you make, but I have one question before we go. And by the way, my name is Morgan Preston. We've got James Hennigan and Joe Hicks here.
Nice to meet you, sir.
So
My pleasure.
the other
Okay.
story that he told us, we want to know about this lighting this lime shit on fire, like way back in the day for lighting. Like, how fucking dangerous is that?
The limelight.
By today's standards, I don't know. You
No.
probably go to prison for it.
Like, how did you go to prison for it? How did it work?
What do you mean, how does it work?
You know what, Morgan? That's a crappy question. Because
I-
really, what I want to know is why.
Fucking, yeah.
The way Bob
Neil
told,
Diamond?
yeah, exactly. The way Bob
Oh,
told it
I was
earlier-
leading into that.
Oh,
I was leading in.
see.
I didn't want. Yeah.
Well, let's jump right to this because apparently, at one point in time in your life, you had the choice to either run off with Neil Diamond or Paul Revere and the Raiders, and you chose Paul Revere and the Raiders. And there was some question
Oh, yeah.
as to why
Yeah.
you would go with Paul Revere and the Raiders.
and we
not-
we even looked it up online. We watched these guys, and
Yeah, we couldn't
just,
think of a single song by Paul Revere and the Raiders, but Neil Diamond's a classic. He's an American icon. Coming to America, come on! What
Well,
was
let me
going-
tell you, I can tell you, I spent 5 years with the Raiders, and I couldn't tell you the words to a single song. I know the name.
yes.
See, my dad's legit.
Now,
Man.
is that-
But can you sing one Neil Diamond song?
Sure.
Let's hear it.
No.
Not really.
Now, do you-
I never really got into the music part of it.
So do you not know any of the Paul Revere and the Raiders words because the band is boring, or because you were just completely wasted during the entire?
No, it was. They had about a half a dozen hits. The big one was Indian Reservation. I think that was 3 million copies. Nothing like a Neil Diamond.
Yeah, yeah.
But the difference is this: that if you're with Neil Diamond, that's all work, ball busting. I mean, there's just no fun, no time for partying, no time for anything. With the Raiders, it was like, okay, it was 80% work with Neil Diamond, 20% fun. Raiders, 90% fun, 10% work.
There you go. So there's
All
now
right.
that
That's
decision's
a good
making
choice.
sense.
Money is the same on both fronts.
Okay.
So
All right.
it wasn't even a question of money. It was just where do you want to go? Where do you want to have the most fun?
Awesome. And
You know,
they had
if
the
I
best.
if I wanted to advance my career, I would have gone with Neil Diamond. If I wanted to just go have fun and be insane, I went with the Raiders.
I see. And Bob was
So-
telling us that you grew up in Vegas, right?
Yes, right.
And were rubbing elbows with the mafia up there at the time. Like apparently Mickey Spillane was your babysitter or something along those lines.
Mickey
there was,
Cohen.
There was a guy at the old Rancho Vegas before that got burned down, mysterious reasons.
It'll
There
happen.
was a guy named Mickey Cohen who was part of the syndicate from the West Coast, the Jewish Mafia, and every time I was a busboy at that point, I was still in high school. Every time I'd pour him a cup of coffee, he'd drop a silver dollar in my pocket. So I'd just sit there and just pour fucking coffee all night and walk out with about 50 bucks. You know,
And hey,
so I
tell
made more money than a waitress. So
him the Louisiana sniper story.
we were in,
And we need pictures.
in New Orleans. Actually, we were in Metairie, a suburb of New Orleans. We were staying there at a hotel, and I was throwing some firecrackers out a window, and somebody called in 6 months before they had a sniper incident in New Orleans, and everybody just went nuts. And SWAT team came in, and so I got hauled out and got arrested, and he put up about 10 grand for bail to get me out of it.
'Cause you had a gun.
So I could go back to work.
Yeah, there was a question we had. What was the deal with the gun they found on you?
Oh, the gun. Well, we used it was a prop that Revere used in the show.
Mm.
And
Was it like an old school musket style gun, or
And we didn't have any bullets for it. We just had blanks.
What kind of gun was it?
And it was a long, like 38.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a modern, like
Freaking,
like a
I
Clint
called
Eastwood
it.
or a detective gun. It
Like a
was
38 special.
why would you carry the
No,
prop
no,
gun?
it had a long barrel on it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Nice. The old.
Like you could snipe with it because it was like a rifle.
Why
pistol.
would you carry the prop gun around with you though?
It just always went with me. And then to fly back then on the airlines and stuff, there were no security or anything like that. You just walked about on the plane.
With the
So
gun in
it
your
was nothing
hand.
like today. So,
Wow. That's
so,
funny.
but it was that was just part of what I did was I carried that. I carried an American flag in a duffel bag and different props that were used in the show that stayed with me, and they did not go with the cargo.
Let me have my dad tell one story because he tells the story way better than I do, and then maybe we can do something else. But tell him the James Dean story, the one where you popped out with the flag.
All right, we were working Harrah's in Reno, and we were staying at the El Dorado because we'd all gotten kicked out of Harrah's. And so after the last show, I was sitting out at the bar, and one of the guys came out. And he was hitting on this girl at the bar, and so they made the deal that she was going to go to his room with him, and I overheard it. So I ran over to, it was like 2 blocks away. I ran over to the hotel, went to front desk, said, told my name, said, I'm the road manager for Paul Revere Raiders. I got to get in this guy's room. I need his key, and they gave me the key. And so I went up to my room, and there I had a 3x5 American flag, and I took off all my clothes. I went and I got in his room and stood behind the curtain, and I waited and waited and waited, and they came in, and they were just going at it like crazy, and I ripped open the curtain, stood there bare ass naked, was waving the flag over my head, screaming, James Dean lives, James Dean lives. And she was screaming,
shit.
diving under the bed. He didn't know what to do. And then I took off, and I don't know what happened from there.
So how sober were you when this experience occurred?
This doesn't sound like just alcohol either.
In those days, honestly, you first day out on tour, you pretty much got loaded, and you never sobered up till you got back home.
Wow, and I never would have guessed it from a band like Paul Revere and the Raiders. I thought they were like all straight-laced, bubblegum.
Oh, they are. That's the straightest band in the country. I mean, those guys. I mean, there was absolutely nothing that they would do that would be raise the concern of any 15-year-old girl's parents.
Oh, my gosh.
Very nice.
What were the drugs of the day?
LSD.
Okay.
Oh, now that story takes on a whole new dimension.
Yeah,
when
totally.
you're,
That's what I was
naked
thinking.
with
I'm
the
like,
flag,
this is
tripping
not
your
alcohol.
nuts off.
So if you want to talk about dimensions, man, you're talking the right drug.
Yeah, now we know where the costumes came from.
You can also see that the apple didn't fall far from the tree too.
That's fantastic.
Wow,
Yeah,
great
it was-
story.
I mean, the guy that you're interviewing, Robert, I met him a couple of times. He seems okay.
Yeah, he threw you under the bus on the Sonny Liston story, but
I got it
whatever.
wrong. That's so cool.
We feel so good. Like, this really brings the whole podcast home. Really, truly. Like, I almost want to end right now because
all
the
makes
fact that
sense
you
now.
got in the ring with him, fucking awesome.
Yeah, how many people, other than, of course, professional fighters, can say, they got their ass kicked by Sonny
Dude, I'd
Liston?
go
That's
get
a badge
punched
of
by
honor.
Mike Tyson or
Sure,
one of those.
sure.
Absolutely.
Take a punch from one of those
go
guys.
into
It's
a
a badge
coma.
of honor.
Yeah, awesome. Great.
Anyways, you guys have any more questions for my dad?
Oh, I'm just glad he
Am I
called in.
dismissed?
Hennigan's got to have one. He's got to have a good, deep one. Come on, what do you got?
Oh man, that's just the greatest story. And I'm glad we pulled that one out of fucking of all the stories, you got to have that. You got to get this one right. This is your dad.
I
It
was wrong.
Changes everything.
I was
feel
wrong
like
about this one.
You may be invited over to your dad's again.
Well, we did mention how we liked when he called you. The first words out of your mouth are "you in fucking jail," and the last words out of your mouth were "don't ever come home again." That was
That pretty much sums it up.
Well, you got a good kid there.
It was,
Yeah, he's definitely the light of my life, and hopefully, with any luck, he will carry on the family traditions.
If you
Oh, it
need to start
sounds
lighting
like
some
he
shit
is.
yeah.
eating LSD and getting arrested and setting stuff on fire.
and wearing a flag.
I'm
buck
making my
naked.
father proud. Totally. It was.
So anyway,
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah,
So-
thanks
so
thanks for calling in.
all
man.
right,
All right.
take care, guys.
Love you, Dad. I'll see you soon.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Well, that was great. And we've probably been talking for like 3 hours, right? Hour 20. All right. Well, should we wrap it up? What do you? I thought that was awesome.
I thought it was awesome. We never did get to your part in this whole show business.
I'm still
fucking
writing it right
family.
now, man. Still
Still
writing.
writing.
It.
Still writing the story.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens.
But Robert's part is that he is a stand-up comic here in Seattle, Washington, and that's where we met. That's
Yeah.
where we all met, is in the comedy scene, and he's definitely a light in our scene, and everybody knows him.
Well, thank you, man. That's
I
very
fucking
nice.
hate him personally. Got to do this podcast.
Yeah, I said, hey, can we get Robert Lackey up to the studio? And Hicks is like,
Yeah.
I live on the island. I
Yeah,
got
I
to
got
run
stuff to
it.
do.
Hicks had to. He had his fucking reasons, but he just said that. Wasn't that the guy whose dad fucking ran away from the Sonny Liston fight?
I got to hear that story.
And I'm sorry that we had to call your dad, but I'm glad we straightened it
Oh,
out.
I'm glad we did that.
And I don't know that I believe the story, either version, because in your version he ran away, in his version he got in the ring, got knocked out. Now, we could talk to him in 5 years. He probably fucking knocked fucking Sonny Liston out. I
The
think
legend
sometimes,
grows.
Yeah.
I think
The
sometimes your version gets better as the years go by.
That's a
But-
distinct possibility. But he has told
no,
me.
I think that's great. I'm so glad he called in. That's
totally.
explains a lot. Before it was just, I don't know, he just seemed troubled. but now we know the Jewish mafia was involved. And
Long line of
fucking
gypsies and
Neil
arsonists
Diamond,
in
that
this
He has a
guy-
weird fascination
trouble
with James
goes
Dean.
everywhere. And
acid and
definitely-
arson and
leather
guns.
bell bottoms and shit. I don't
And
know.
dude, and get the gun, awesome, long barrel, 38.
What was it? 38.
Long barrel.
Long barrel
Shit,
38.
you couldn't stop anything with that anyway. You couldn't snipe anything.
No, it would. Yeah,
Even Louisiana.
I think it shoots in a hook.
Yeah, just right. Maybe hit the ground. Anyway, well, thank you very much, Robert Lackey, and
Oh, my pleasure, guys.
producer, and we'll do it again. And
I wish you
Next
guys. I wish you guys much luck with your podcast. I hope it goes well.
it's so
We
far.
got a name.
Yeah, so,
Well, this is actually the last one. This is it. We're
Oh,
done.
well.
It's we're wrapping it up. We peaked. What are we gonna do?
a lot of these podcasts they just go and go and go and go year after year after year. And we
That's
thought,
not our style.
We thought if you can't do it in 2, you got nothing to say.
You're just spinning your wheels after 2.
Yeah,
really.
see, you're just fucking gonna burn your clutch up, motherfucker. You ain't going nowhere. So
And that's why we call it Hard Rain.
hard rain. All right.
Bye.
Now you just it's like
We
trying
just
to
stop.
get-
We just
it's
take
like
the,
talking
take
to a
these off,
fucking girl on
stick
the
them like
phone,
right
you
here,
know, it's like,
and
how
then
do you-
stand up, and hopefully the streaming stops.
Thank you very much for that, guys.
Yeah, I